As I sit down to film this video, Pluto is experiencing his first full retrograde in our lifetimes within the sign of Aquarius. Pluto has retrograded in Aquarius before, but he moved back into the sign of Capricorn. So that was more of a completionary, if that's a word. It was a time of completion. Yes, we were beginning to sweep through some of these Aquarian themes and energies, but it was more about completing the Capricorn lessons and the Capricorn transit. Now, with this first full retrograde within the sign of Aquarius, Pluto is going back over what we could consider new territory. He's really sinking his teeth into this Aquarian age, this Aquarian experience, and all of the themes and energies that come with it. And this particular retrograde is focusing on the energies of leadership, as well as the energies of service to others versus service to self. In this video, we're going to get into this and so much more, exploring these concepts, exploring galactic astrology or cosmic astrology, and the relationship that Pluto has to both the fixed star Altair, which he is retrograding over, and the Shapley Attractor, which is a powerful super cosmic point in space located at 2 degrees of Scorpio. These two factors make this Pluto retrograde one of the most powerful retrogrades that we will experience, probably the most powerful within 2025. And certainly, as we're moving forward, it is setting the stage for some powerful themes and energies that we're going to continue working with throughout Pluto's lengthy transit of Aquarius, that lasts until 2044. Now, this particular Pluto retrograde began on May 3rd, and it goes until October 13th. So we have a bit of time to be working with these energies. This retrograde actually completes at 1 degree and 22 minutes of Aquarius, which is almost exactly on top of the fixed star Altair, which is located at 1 degree and 47 minutes. And so, yes, as we begin talking about Altair, we are going to be talking about the beings that inhabit it. So if you do not believe that there is life outside of this planet, if you are not interested in galactic beings, interdimensional energies, and travel, this may not be the video for you, although you will probably still find the themes and energies that we talk about in a real world sense as far as how we're experiencing this in our daily lives extremely relevant. So if you are not a believer in such things, I challenge you to watch this entire video and to see if you recognize the impact as far as what you are experiencing in your own personal life of these super cosmic points and these fixed stars. And if you do, then I invite you to perhaps open your mind to the possibility that there is more that exists than what you are shown at face value. For all of you who are already down with all of that, who know that you are actually an interdimensional being having a human experience, that perhaps even suspect that you are from the stars, that you've had experiences or are having, depending on how you look at time, right? Experiences in these different star systems, then you're really going to enjoy this video. So either way, welcome. And of course, to all of my returning subscribers, welcome, welcome, welcome. I love you infinitely. You all know what's up. You got your finger on the pulse of this already. And I know that you've been waiting for this video. So thank you for your patience. And I'm sorry, my eyelash keeps catching here. So if it looks like my eye is twitching out, that's just, hopefully it'll fix itself. I'm trying to do this video in one take. So we're going to see how it goes. There's a lot of really good information that I want to get into. I'm going to try to do this in as coherent and concise a manner as process. So we're going to start with the fixed star Altair. Okay, we're going to start with Pluto just temporarily for those who aren't aware of the energy of Pluto. So Pluto is the co-ruler of the planet, or sorry, of the sign Scorpio. Pluto represents power. Pluto represents the shadow and the journey through the shadow, the journey through the underworld to uncover our light. Pluto represents all the aspects of life that shape us, that change us. All the things that we cannot control, right? So this is life, this is death, this is rebirth. This is all of these themes, and we can see these themes echoed in the 8th house in the zodiac chart, which Pluto rules. All right, all of the mystical energies. Many believe Pluto to represent our soul's evolution, particularly our soul's emotional conditioning through lifetimes, and the general overall evolutionary impulses of our soul. Pluto is also a collective planet. So we're looking at this through a more collective theme or lens. And when I say that, essentially what I mean is like, this is where we really feel the interconnectedness, where we're all going on this journey together. Yes, there's an individual component to every collective journey, but there's a much deeper sense of fate involved with these types of collective transits. Many people consider Pluto to be the planet that rules the generations. So Pluto in Scorpio is a generation, Pluto in Libra is a generation, and so on and so forth. So as Pluto moved into Aquarius, we also have a brand new astrological generation being born here. There's just so many exciting things about this energy. We're not going to get into all of that, but we're just going to say Pluto is the planet that initiates you into your power through causing or forcing you, really, in a sense, to confront your greatest fears, your greatest insecurities, and everything that you've suppressed and repressed. Pluto is the most Jungian of all the planets, we could say, speaking of Carl Jung. And so who really like to explore the shadow and the depths of the psyche. All right, this is what Pluto is all about. So we're uncovering things, we're unearthing things here. So take this planet, when Pluto goes retrograde, this is an even deeper look within the unconscious. This is where we really begin to unravel things at an even deeper level. And the really, really suppressed or repressed truths tend to surface. Pluto goes retrograde for about half the year, so it's not an uncommon occurrence. It's part of a natural cycle where Pluto is initiating us, and then Pluto's taking us back through that energy, kind of the same way that healing works in spirals, so that we get a deeper understanding of what we're working with. Because Pluto moves so slowly, Pluto takes over 200 years to move through the zodiac. This is the only transit most likely that we will experience of Pluto in Aquarius in our lifetimes. This is the only time that we're going to experience Pluto at these early degrees of Aquarius, having conversations with these fixed stars and these super cosmic points. So this is a big, big deal. What makes this so extra fascinating is the presence of the fixed star Altair, which is located at 1 degree and 47 minutes of Aquarius. Now, the fixed star Altair is part of a star system. And this star system has some very similar themes and energies to what's going on planet Earth right now. This was a system of very wise, very powerful warriors, these beautiful, beautiful, intelligent beings. It is also known as the flying eagle, and it represents that energy of wisdom, of that higher vision of leadership, of freedom. And so this, of course, is a natural target for some of these darker beings that have essentially infected our universe. And if you want to learn more about that, check out the video I'm going to link at the end of this one. What is the AI inverted matrix and how do we ascend out? That video explains a lot of these dark beings, their agendas, what's going on with that. I'm not going to get super into that here. I'm just going to say that the same dark beings that we are liberating ourselves from on planet Earth also infected Altair, another very well-known star system that was infected by these beings. When I say infected, what I mean was infected to the point where they chose the path of service to self over service to others overwhelmingly, and they were plunged into darkness. Another very well-known star system connected with this energy is Orion. So Altair, very similarly, they were infected by this energy. They chose the path, not all, but enough, at least 51% of them, chose this path of service to self, this path of darkness. And as a result, there were many, many who suffered and who still suffer, I do believe. When beings choose this path, they choose a path of power over, where the power coalesces in the hands of the few. Does this sound familiar at all? Now, there are the beings who think they have the power, and then the beings beyond the beings, behind the beings, that actually hold the power. And this is all discussed in the video that I'm going to link at the end of this video. All right, but essentially they use mind control techniques. They use surveillance. They used all these means in order to subvert the will of the people and essentially get them under complete control. Now, of course, there's always factions within the rebel factions. People finding this channel, there's a reason we call ourselves the Cosmic Rebels. All right, welcome. Will relate to this energy. So there were rebel and are rebel factions within Altair, and many of those, some members of those factions are incarnated on Earth right now. Some who simply were fleeing that energy incarnated on Earth. But lo and behold, a soul lesson is a soul lesson. You escape one planet because you don't want to delve into that energy, and you just end up on another one going through the same thing, right? So those souls who were fleeing without the purpose of liberating their original star, their original system, planet, whatever you want to call it, they're now here and they're faced with the same choice. So there's two sects of Altarians, if we can call them that are incarnated on this planet right now. One of those sects, or maybe three, Spirit saying, one of those sects is the rebels, who came here because they saw that something similar was happening on Earth, and they saw the opportunity to liberate this planet and also help to liberate their home planet. Because Earth there's something about Earth, and I know it drives people crazy when we say this. It drives me a little crazy too, this whole elitist understanding that like Earth is special. But it is. It is the crown jewel of our galaxy, whether we like it or not. You know, that simply is what it is. All right. And it has the greatest amount of density at this point. Somehow. All right. And because it is a third density planet, it is a third density experience. It's fallen so far in the densities. So as Earth liberates itself, it helps to liberate this entire universe, this entire galaxy. All right. So this is, if you want to get, this is kind of like when we talk about belief systems and how you want to get to the root of where that belief began in order to uproot it. It's the same thing. The forces of light, the Legion of Light, if I may, who are here to liberate this galaxy. This is ground zero right here on planet Earth. All right, so there's the freedom fighters that came here, the rebels. That's one sect. The second sect would be the ones who are fleeing this energy. All right, and like I said, it's kind of a cosmic joke. The universe is funny in its own way, right? Divine Mother, the supreme being, whatever, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, has a sense of humor, right? Because they're here back in this energy again. So their lesson is stepping up and fighting, taking a stand for something. All right, courage. And Saturn and Aries is going to be a big initiating energy, as well as this Pluto retrograde for those particular star seeds. The third sect is kind of a similar within the first sect, but slightly different. They're here to amend their own karma. And what I mean by this is they chose the path of service to self. They chose the path of darkness. They chose the sweet, seductive energy and offerings of power that these dark beings that corrupted that star system offered them. And they feel there's guilt there, and there's a desire to make things right. So they're here to rectify their karma by assisting in the liberation of this planet. All right, but any way you slice it, the majority of the Altarian starseeds on this planet, I do believe, are here to assist in the liberation. There could be some here with their dark agendas as well who are still under the mind control of these other beings, right? So there could be a fourth sect there. All right. There's many, many sects of many different types of beings on this planet, both here to liberate and here to attempt to keep the planet shrouded in darkness. But as we know, consciousness is rising daily. So the point of saying all of this is that with Pluto tracing over this point, it's activating the healing. So for those star seeds who came here who hold that guilt, this is going to be activating that energy within them in order to cleanse it, in order to clear it so that they can heal it. For those who came here with that mission of liberation, like say the first type, this is going to be activating that remembrance of that mission within those who have forgotten. And the second type, the ones who are simply fleeing, are going to be really faced with circumstances that begin to force them into their power, that put them in that place perhaps where they're trying to find a space of neutrality, right? They're trying to be Switzerland, but they can't. They're having to take a stand. All right. So notice where you fall within any of those categories. If you do, even if you don't have a connection to Altair or Orion, you have a connection to this planet because you're here right now. So these same themes are being echoed, and all of us in our individual lives and as a collective are being shown this opportunity and given this chance, this choice point. Do I choose the path of love, the path of service to others, the positively polarized path? Or do I choose the negatively polarized path, the path of service to self? That's the choice, the path of fear, right? Power over, or do I choose power with? This choice, we've been making it over and over again, but there are certain points within this process where that choice becomes that much more important, and it has the possibility of really splitting us off into a brand new timeline. This is where we're at right now. A lot of people talk about this energy of being 51% service to others, that's when we get to graduate this experience, so to speak. That's the tipping point of energy. That's the point that we need to reach in order for ascension to occur. And I want to say at this point too, like there's no pressure to choose either path. Each path serves the individual soul. All right. Every service to self path, as they said in the Law of One, which is a great read if anybody on here hasn't read it, channeled material from the Raw Collective. Every service to self path eventually leads back to source as well. It has an end point. You can only get so far in that energy before the light draws you home. And by the light, I mean the love light, the pure love light of source. All right, because I got to watch my words here because there's all different types of light, right? Light does not always hold love, but love always holds light. So this is the energy before us. This is the choice before us once more. And we're going to see this happening in our lives, little opportunities to choose either love or fear. And Spirit wants me to define right now and help people to understand when we're saying service to self. Obviously, this doesn't mean like service to self in a negatively polarized fashion means that power over dynamic. It means what I want and need at the expense of everyone and everything else. It's that cruel, cold, selfish type energy that doesn't care who it has to hurt in order to get what it wants, that eventually begins to enjoy hurting others. Although that may not be initially. It may simply be self-serving, but a lack of care or concern for the collective. Taking care of ourselves, loving ourselves, healing ourselves. That is positively polarized service to self. That's the kind of service to self that also positively benefits others. So it's healing us and it's healing the collective. Just as Spirit's also bringing through and reminding us when we hurt ourselves, we hurt the collective. So there's an energy there to keep in mind as well. There's a balance with all of this. And if you guys are interested, let me know. I can do a whole video on service to self and service to others to clarify this energy. I don't want to take up a ton of time in this video on it, but let me know in the comments below if that's something that you are interested in. For now, just know that now that we've made that clarification, it's about what are you choosing, right? One path leads to ascension. One path leads to what I call sometimes descension or a different type of experience. Feel into each of those for a minute. Spirit wants everyone to take a moment to pause this video. Feel into what the service to others pathway feels like. and set the intention then to feel into what the service to self pathway feels like. See which one feels better. And ask your higher self to remind you, kind of like a ping on a GPS, when you align yourself with either one of those frequencies, so that you'll know instantly. Because in every moment, we're not perfect all the time, right? In every moment, if we align ourselves with one or the other, we can feel that ping that reminds us, okay, do I want to pivot right now, or do I want to remain in this energy? You're going to have opportunities to make choices that align with either one of these timelines. You're also going to have opportunities to act with or without integrity. And integrity is simply acting in accordance to your own truth, your own morals, your own values and ideals. It's walking your talk. It's what you do when nobody else is looking. All right, this is integrity. Do my words, my actions align with my truth? There's a lot of people out there who are saying one thing and doing another. And there's an energy here that's going to expose that. Enter the second player in this equation. We have the Shapley Attractor located at 2 degrees of Scorpio. Now, the Shapley Attractor is the most powerful known point in space. It is an attractor. So attractors are not quite black holes, although they have a lot of the energies or descriptors of a black hole, but they don't quite fit. They are gravitational anomalies. They have a mass that is incalculable. They are drawing everything in our known universe is being sucked toward the Shapley Attractor. It was only recently discovered. It's a very quiet energy, slowly sipping on our entire universe. Multiverse, really. There are massive superclusters of galaxies swimming, being drawn to, pulled to, and existing within the belly of the Shapley Attractor. It is a magnificent point of space. It is a point that represents ultimate power. The way that I understand it is that it represents the dichotomy of dark and light. It represents integrity, power with integrity. It represents truth, and it also represents secrets, right? This is a very scorpionic energy. It's no mistake that it's located at 2 degrees of Scorpio. People who have points conjunct or within range of the Shapley Attractor tend to have immense influence over the collective. Although the majority of that influence is not known, they may be very well known, but the majority of the influence is actually behind closed doors. It's underneath the scenes. Most of the major alliances that we have in our world, you know, the acronyms, have strong points in their charts of conception connected to the Shapley. People, very rich, influential people have points connected to this. People who have influenced the collective in massive ways. And a lot of these people are thought to be very dark by people in the spiritual community who are in the know. But even the dark ultimately serves the light, as we said. Even if it only serves in the sense of awakening, of pushing to a point of uncomfortability where action is a must. And that's where we're reaching as a collective. The thing with the Shapley is eventually what is hidden must be known. It will be made visible. And with Pluto, which has a connection, a kinship with the Shapley, being the ruler of Scorpio and also being the ruler of secrets and power. This is really bringing out this energy. It's really activating the Shapley really activating Pluto. It's causing us to dig deep. It's revealing the truth behind these people, these systems, these organizations of power. And what Spirit showed me a little while ago was this has to happen in layers. And it's been happening really since Pluto entered Capricorn on a more massive scale. And especially since Saturn and Pluto were conjunct at 22 degrees of Capricorn, the killing degree, no less, of Capricorn in degree theory in January of 2020. but now we're going even deeper. But it's been happening, and it's happened gradually in layers because this is paradigm shattering energy. And we're seeing this energy everywhere, like Uranus about to enter Gemini, Saturn and Neptune in Aries. This is revolutionary energy. This is paradigm shattering energy. But think of a paradigm. Think of the collective truth, what the majority of the collective believe to be truth. Think of what that does to the psyche when that truth is proven to be a falsity, when that narrative is called into question so many times that even cognitive dissonance can't keep up. The mind breaks a little bit. And this is what we're seeing happening within the collective. We've been seeing this for a while, the resistance. All right, we have had Neptune squaring the galactic center, another one of these super cosmic points like the Shapley, but different. And I'm going to do a video on all these points for you all as well. That's going to be coming soon. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet, if you're enjoying this information. What were we talking about? Paradigm shattering, right? It's a delicate process. We don't want to unleash complete and utter madness and chaos. So it happens in stages. And we get just as much as people can handle. And different people can handle different amounts. Something that's also really interesting about this Shapley Attractor, and so the Shapley supercluster, which the Shapley Attractor is part of, is massive. All right, we're talking final decan of Libra all the way through the first decan of Scorpio. The Shapley Attractor is the most concentrated point within that Shapley supercluster that holds the greatest amount of galaxies. This is the point that we're talking of. And it sits right sort of cozied up to another fixed star. So as Pluto is retrograding, connecting with Altair, he is also squaring not only the Shapley, but Princeps, which is very powerful fixed star, particularly with all of that intensity from the Shapley radiating out towards it, or perhaps it radiating toward the Shapley, right? However you want to look at it. This star represents keen analysis, the desire for knowledge. It represents someone with a deep analytical mind when you have a connection to this star. High intelligence. So there's this deep need within the collective as Pluto is going through this retrograde to go deeper, to explore more, to travel down the rabbit hole, perhaps further than we've gone before, to really review the information coming to light with that keen intuition and insight. People who have been perhaps on the fence of exploring certain concepts and ideas may feel themselves drawn in more. That detective switch is being flipped here. Stones are getting turned over. So this is a really powerful influence to have as truth is coming to light, because it's making people more desiring of that truth, of that knowledge, of that expansion. So you see how these themes and energies work together. We're learning about our darkness as well as our light. We're having that opportunity to choose a path, to choose a timeline, so to speak. We're learning more about leadership. We're being called more into a leadership role. And we're understanding the importance of power with integrity, right? With great power comes great responsibility. We're activating those memories from times where, very similar to today, the people who had the responsibility of that power did not wield it with integrity. We're learning how to be that leader who does. We're learning how to see from that higher vantage point. Remember, leadership is a core Aquarian energy in and of itself. Aquarius and Leo are the axis of leadership. Aquarian leadership is leadership through true democracy. through consensus, right? The collective, everybody having a voice. The benefit of the whole, decided by the whole. So that's the energy we're moving into. And we're first being shown where it is because, see, this is the thing about democracy. People can only make a decision from their level of awareness. So in order to be a society that is truly free, we have to first recognize where we are not and make the necessary adjustments. And that's what's happening right now. The truth about our level of actual freedom is coming to light, right? A society, and this is why the control happens in the mind. This is why they brainwash us from every possible angle, right? From the beginning, from education, media, programming, right? There's a reason they call TV programming, right? Everywhere we look, the indoctrination, because when you control the mind, you control the reality. We are the batteries of the matrix. We are the creational energy. So first we have to recognize that, and we have to take that energy back. We have to realize that we are being led to make certain decisions, to have certain beliefs, and reclaim that energy, reclaim that ability to think for ourselves. This is a key part of this energy and this transit as well. We cannot be a leader if we are still following somebody else. All right. So it's like becoming our own authority is a very important part of this process. And I'm sure you can all see as I'm talking how Saturn and Neptune and Aries play into this. Saturn and Neptune now both in the beginning degrees of Aries. Within conjunction range, their exact conjunction will be on February 20, 2026. They're both going to retrograde back into Pisces this year, having their own closing out of energies, just as Pluto did with his last year with his retrograde, right? Closing out that Capricorn energy. They're going to be closing out that Piscean journey, anchoring then into this new energy. And they are initiating a brand new paradigm. Aries is also energy of leadership. All right. As well as courage, of bravery, of the self-independent sovereignty. So we're getting this from every angle. I want to say, I believe it's Neptune that goes retrograde on the 4th of July. I'm actually going to check that while I'm saying this, which is, of course, in the United States, Independence Day. I know one of these key planets does. I wrote down the transit. So I want to look it up and see. Yeah, that's when Neptune begins its retrograde on Independence Day. All right, you can't make this up. If we're looking at, I'm American, so of course I that's what I'm going to speak the most about because it's like I really recognize what's going on here. I'm most invested because I live here, right? So the symbol of America is the bald eagle, right? What is Altair? The flying eagle. That's what the star is referred to. I believe it's the Native Americans that call it the flying eagle. All right, that energy of freedom, it's absolutely everywhere. Uranus entering Gemini a few days after the 4th of July. Right, on the 7/7. Uranus and Gemini, an energy also of revolution. The United States' Uranus return. Its Pluto return happened when Pluto was in the final degrees of Capricorn. All right, these are all markers of revolution. The revolution begins within. And that's where many people are at right now, is the internal revolution. Many other people are externally involved in revolution already through protesting, through different things. The problem for many, though, is that they don't really understand the enemy. They don't understand the enemy within, nor do they understand the enemy without, because the enemy without, in some ways, is a reflection of the enemy within, right? Because this is a reflective universe, a mirroring universe. That's a concept for a whole other video. But the point of me bringing that up is just to say, as we soothe the battle within, as goes the battle within, so goes the battle without. That's the way that Spirit wants me to put it right now, as something for people to sort of mull over. So the internal revolution, the internal paradigm shift, which has been underway, as we said, for many, many years now, different numbers of years for different people. More and more people are waking up to this. In the beginning, there's the resistance, right? It's kind of like the stages of grief. Because what's happening? We are grieving the old paradigm. We're grieving the old reality. Even if we didn't like it, it felt safe because it was known. We thought we understood it. Now we're moving into the unknown. There's so much possibility in the unknown, but possibility could go either way. And we are hardwired. We are programmed to immediately react to the unknown with fear, right? This is why we have to call in spirit, call in God, whatever you want to call that force or energy. That gives us the strength to walk through the fear. Also, Saturn and Aries, Neptune and Aries, spiritual empowerment, right? This is such an amazing energy. I think that really covers everything that I wanted to really relay to everyone regarding this energy and this transit. It's so powerful. Pluto will be retrograding back to 3 degrees of Aquarius another time in late 2026. But he won't be going over these very, very first points again. So the energy will be lessening. It won't be as exact, except there will still be an exact square to boots again. As more information is revealed, more truth is revealed. We go deeper. Allow yourself to be cracked open right now. Allow the memories, whether they come in the form of actual knowledge or whether they're a cellular thing, they're an emotional release. Allow the grieving process, if there's a grieving process that needs to happen. Just know that wherever you are in that process is perfect for you. Don't try to force yourself to be somewhere you're not. Just make every choice that you can with that clear energy of, am I choosing in this moment fear or am I choosing love? Am I choosing service to self or service to others? Keeping in mind, of course, that our own healing is also service to others. It's both. All right. I love you all infinitely. Thank you for being with me through this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If there's anything I talked about that you want to learn more about, please let me know. Like I said, I'll link the what is the AI inverted matrix video for people who that's a new concept to them, who want to go deeper into that. If you want a personal reading where I incorporate some of these galactic points into your astrology chart, or a tarot reading, or a combination, I call it Astro Tarot, reach out to me. I also do quantum healing, past life regression, entity removal. So many things. And it is my honor and privilege to be of service to you in any way that I can. I'll talk to you all soon.